I'm here today to tell you what makes a great cheese plate. When you're putting together a great cheese plate, one of the things you want to try and do is get as diverse a group of cheeses as you possibly can. And by diverse, ideally what you're going to do is start with different cheese types, and then you're going to move into different geographical areas. So one of the things we did today was we brought cheeses in from different countries, a couple of cheeses from the same country, and cheeses that are clearly from different geographical areas. So our first cheese here, and I should say that all of our cheeses are cow's milk cheeses. Our first cheese here is called the Tom Creuse. Tom Creuse is from Savoie. It's a French cheese, and it's a cheese that's typically produced with mountain milk. And it's a traditional cheese that is now better known as Tom de Savoie. One of the wonderful things about Tom Creuse is you can see on the exterior of the cheese that as the cheese develops, it gets beautiful yellow molds, and depending on what time of year the milk comes from, you'll get different color molds in the top of the cheese. So another great part about a great cheese plate is a great story. The cheese that we have in back here is a taleggio, and taleggio is a washed rind cheese rather than more of a slight bloomy rind cheese. And it comes from the Val Cesena in northern Italy. And again, a really wonderful story. It's called the stracchino cheese, and it has a little bit of a sharp, piquant taste, and that comes from what they used to call tired cows, which is stracchino means tired. And they used to take the cows on long journeys before they would milk them to produce the cheese, and that would create a very unusual flavor, and thus they came up with the stracchino cheese. So it's beautiful cheese. The cheese we have here is based on a traditional cheese called reblochon, and reblochon comes from the word reblocher, which means to milk for a second time, and somewhat similar to our second cheese, the taleggio. It gives a little bit of a sharper flavor to this cheese. This last cheese here is Parmigiano Reggiano. It's often been called the king of cheeses. The milk can only come from Reggio Emilia. What makes a great cheese plate is trying to figure out how to have a distinctive presentation, something where you're looking at cheeses from different geographical areas and different cheese types, whether they're washed rind cheeses, blooming rind cheeses, blue cheeses, mountain cheeses. There's all different types of things you can do to make it a unique cheese plate.